Tuscany is one of those places that almost doesn't feel real. From rolling hills covered in vineyards, medieval hilltop towns frozen in time, and of course Florence with some of the most iconic art and architecture in the world. In this video, we're taking you on the perfect adventure through the heart of Tuscany. We'll chase sunrises in Florence, climb bell towers for sweeping cityscapes. We are doing the stairs up the bell tower of the Duomo. And of course, try some of the best food Italy has to offer. From rooftop cocktails to the world famous sandwiches and the delicious gelato.
I got tiramisu and dark chocolate. It's a 10 out of 10.
Then we'll venture into the countryside, exploring charming towns like Castelfiorentino, wandering the medieval streets of San Gimignano, sipping wine straight from Tuscan vineyards in Montepulciano, and standing in front of some of the most photographed places in all of Italy. If Tuscany's on your bucket list, this is the ultimate guide you don't want to miss. Hi, we're Giselle and Steven, also known as the Lover's Passport, and we're bringing you on a new bucket list adventure every single week of this year. We are going to be taking you all through Tuscany. This is one of the most beautiful places that we've been all year, and we cannot wait. If you guys love to travel and you're looking for more bucket list adventure, don't forget to give us a like and subscribe. And with that, let's go ahead and jump into the video. So the first spot we recommend starting in Tuscany is here in Florence, one of my favorite cities in the entire world, and I definitely recommend doing the Duomo first. We got there during the early morning around 8 a.m. and had the area all to ourselves, grab a quick cup of coffee.
Just a little morning coffee next to the Duomo.
And then we did the hike to the top of the bell tower.
All right, we're going up. We are doing the stairs up the bell tower of the Duomo. They said there's around 400 plus stairs to go up. Another thing to remember, do not bring a backpack. There was someone that struggling to come in because they didn't have a simple sling like this. So just a reminder. So this is one of those like little areas that it gets flat. This is the second one. We're gonna keep going up. There's a bunch of fencing on it, so can't take too many photos with the camera yet, but we're on our way up.
We made it to the top. This is the view from the top of the bell tower. Like I said, 400 steps up, and it is super pretty. I would recommend doing it in the beginning of the day. It's 9:30, so it took us about 25 minutes to get all the way to the top. I will say that there is fence all the way around, so it's a little hard if you're trying to take like a professional photo with your camera. That being said, we got some really cool photos and videos with the phone, and it's crazy. You can see the rooftop we went to yesterday. You can see all around. You can see all the gardens that we walked through the other day. And like I said, you definitely want to make reservations, try and get here early. We were here later in the day and the line literally wrapped around the entire Duomo. It was crazy in the afternoon. So we went ahead and put the QR link right over here so you can scan that, book your timed entry. Like I said, we did the one at 9 a.m. And it's not too hot right now in the middle of August. Definitely make sure you do it in the earlier day so you're not dying when you come up the 400 steps. Super beautiful view, definitely something that you can add to the bucket list. And now we're gonna head down. The second spot we'd recommend going to right after that is heading over to the Ponte Vecchio, which is the beautiful, most famous bridge. You can go shopping on it. You can walk by the river. We recommend going to Melaleuca for like an actual breakfast. They have amazing food there and it's right on the water. When we went, there was a little bit of construction, but still totally worth the stop. I would 10 out of 10 recommend. After grabbing breakfast at Melaleuca, we would definitely go and check out the Uffizi gallery. It is beautiful, especially when it's super hot out during the middle of summer. When we went, there was Michelangelo's that we saw. You could see the Venus. The most famous piece in the whole thing is probably the Medusa. So it was really cool to explore. For the Uffizi Gallery, we would definitely recommend booking your tickets ahead of time, just because the line there can get crazy with all the groups and if there's cruises in port. So I went ahead and I'll put the QR code right over here. If you want to scan that, that's a skip the line pass. It's the one we did and we had no problem getting in.
So of course you have to dine out here in Florence. There's tons of amazing restaurants and rooftop bars. We went to 2 rooftop bars actually. The first one was called View on Art and it overlooked the Duomo. It was like right next to it. We got a table there last minute right before sunset just for drinks and it was incredible. I would definitely lean towards wine though. The cocktails were a little sweet, but you're definitely paying for the view, not necessarily for the drinks there. Arrive early because all the tables filled up within 30 minutes of us getting there. But it was definitely one of our favorite spots in Florence to get an amazing view of the Duomo. The other rooftop bar we went to was a little bit further out of town. It was across the Ponte Vecchio and it was much more chill and much more of a relaxed vibe, if you will. We definitely recommend it there. The drinks were phenomenal. There were misters. It's a gorgeous little rooftop and it's tucked away, so it's a lot less busy. Florence is also known for their sandwiches out here. So of course we've had to try a couple throughout our time here. The first one is the most famous one that everyone on TikTok recommends. It is called All'antico Vinaio. Now, when we stopped in front of this to get dropped off for our Airbnb here in Florence, our Uber driver immediately said, it's kind of overhyped. So we had that expectation going into it. We just stopped by when we were walking and there was not really a line. We had seen an insane line the other day. Since there was no line, we checked it out. The sandwiches were good, but they weren't like the best that we've had in Florence. Actually, our favorite ones in Tuscany, we're in one of the villages we'll be taking to you in a little bit. But it was good. If there's no line, you can check it out, but they were like really heavy, really overstuffed. So I would recommend visiting a couple of the other well-known sandwich shops here if you are looking for the best traditional Florence sandwich.
Next up, you have to go up and see sunset from the Piazza Michelangelo. It is the best sunset spot in all of Florence. It gives you sweeping views over the entire city. What we did is we decided to grab a quick taxi up. We picked up some wine, we relaxed, opened up the wine. There's always live music up there, especially during sunset in summer. I will warn though, there's going to be a lot of crowds up here. You can see the Duomo, the Ponte Vecchio, and the entire city glowing at sunset. You're probably going to want to spend around 1 to 2 hours up here, and if you do want a really good spot at sunset, we would recommend getting there at least an hour early. We got there around 15 to 20 minutes before sunset and it was absolute madness. Now, before we jump into the next beautiful city in Tuscany, we do want to talk about our sponsor for today, which is Norton 360. Just like when you explore Tuscany, you don't have to worry about your passport or your valuables getting left behind or stolen. The same thing applies to online. We want to have the peace of mind that hackers are not going to get our information, and with Norton 360, it's never been easier. When you're in Italy, public Wi-Fi is everywhere. You're going to be connecting to cafes with it. You're going to be using it when you're trying to buy plane tickets or museum tickets. I literally almost got scammed when we were out there, and Norton has this super cool new feature called Genie AI, and it basically scans the internet for scams and helps prevent them for you, which I think is so cool. Norton is an all-in-one platform. We've been using it for the past 4 years. They also have Norton VPN, which we connect to anytime we go to the airport or travel abroad. And lastly, we love their new Genie AI. So if you want to stay safe while you're out there traveling, make sure to download Norton VPN. We went ahead and put the QR code right over here to check it out, or you can check the link out in the description. Now that you're safe traveling in Tuscany, let's go ahead and jump into the next city.
We decided to base our Tuscany trip in the cute little town of Castelfiorentino, primarily because we found this very cute villa, which I'll link down in the description for you guys, as well as over here. And that's where it was located. There's a lot of really nice Tuscan villas with pools out in this village. And so if you're looking for that, this is a great area to kind of make your central base. It's nice because it's only a little bit over an hour away from Florence, and it was about an hour-ish away from all all of the multiple different Tuscany villages that we wanted to hit. So if you're looking to do day trips to Pienza, Siena, San Gimignano, all those kinds of places, this is a really great spot because you're close to everything.
Good morning from our first winery of the day. It has been such a beautiful day this morning. We got up and went for a walk in this park. Even the parks here are stunning. They have the beautiful trees that you see all around Tuscany, and we are here at Castello di Oliveto. I think that's how you say it. We had lunch here. We had 7 different wines. And it's literally in the middle of a castle. This one is only about 10 minutes from our Airbnb, which works out really well. And we're gonna go to a little town afterwards. There's so many different things to see in Tuscany. We're gonna be showing you some of the best wineries, some of the best places to go, the cute towns, and all the most beautiful views. And we cannot wait.
We just finished up our tasting here. I ended up buying 2 bottles. I got a bottle of the Brut and one of the Chiantis. All of the wine was really, really good. I really enjoyed it. We had a sparkling wine, the Brut, to start, and then we had a Vermentino, and then we had 2 Chiantis, and then 2 of their house wines that are made from their vineyards here. So really, really great experience. We got to tour the property, learn a little bit about the history, and then we did a lunch pairing, which came with some bruschetta, some little quiches, and zucchini bread, and pasta, and meats and salamis, and we were like the only people here the whole time. We made reservations in advance, so make sure you do that too. And there's a nice little parking lot so you can drive all the way up here, but you definitely want to rent a car to get out here. So would definitely recommend this while you're out exploring near Castelfiorentino. We have now done our second tasting today, and we are at a different castle. This one is Castello de Mileto, and this was founded back in 1256. So it is like mega old winery. This was actually recommended to me by our sommelier in Napa when I went up there earlier this year. And it's so beautiful up here. We did a tasting. They have 2 different flights for tasting, and we got one of each, and all of them are really, really good. I would recommend, honestly, doing both if you have the time, if you're going with like a friend or a partner. And we got 2 different bottles of wine to take home with us. They also do international shipping, but it is a beautiful day up here. You can also do a variety of tours up here. They have like a beekeeping tour. They have a property tour and tasting. So there's a variety of things that you can do. I will put it in the QR code over here if you are interested in pre-booking an experience with them. But we definitely recommend coming out here and doing a tasting for your Tuscany bucket list.
We are now in the town of Siena, which, little history chat with Steven, this was actually like one of the main towns competing with Florence hundreds of years ago when they were looking at like who's gonna get more artists, who's gonna bring more celebrities, who's gonna bring more money. So they also have a Duomo di Siena, which is directly behind me. It is so beautiful, not as big and luxurious as the one in Florence, but really beautiful to see. They also have this stunning piazza that we walked through. There's a full castle in the middle where you can walk through the old town. We're not gonna have a chance to do it today because we weren't even supposed to come here, but we were driving and we saw the cathedral from the road and we were like, oh my gosh, we have to go check it out. And it is so beautiful. Another really cool fact is inside the town, they have the oldest bank in the entire world, or at least the oldest working bank, which was super unique to see. And yeah, the streets are super cute. Everywhere you go, it's a lot of up and downhill. It honestly reminds me of like a mix between Florence and Venice. Really, really cute little spot. If you're out here in Tuscany, a lot of people base themselves here because it is such a big city. It has a lot of the amenities and different hotels compared to us staying out in the agriturismo. It's a little bit more desolate and out, but it depends if you want to be in the city or if you want a little bit more peace and quiet. But really fun little stop on our way to the next city, which I'll take you there. Apparently, they have some of the best gelato, or they have the best gelato in all of Italy. So with that, let's get on moving. The next city we went to was San Gimignano, and this was one of the coolest cities that we went, mostly because they have one of the best gelato shops in the entire world. This place is known as the medieval Manhattan because it's filled with ancient towers that make it feel like it's been frozen in time. Our recommendation recommendation is don't just stay in the main square, but make sure you wander through some of the side streets. If there are two things you need to do, make sure you go and have dinner at La Vecchio. This was a restaurant perched right on the city walls. It offered insane views over the rolling hills and vineyards. If you go here, you want to make sure you make reservations in advance, because when we got there, it was completely packed. They were turning away people left and right, so make sure you make reservations if you want this stunning view. It's also gorgeous in the afternoon. This next spot has the best gelato in the world. It is called the Gelateria Dandoli, and yes, it does live up to the hype.
G, what's the consensus?
I got tiramisu and dark chocolate. It's a 10 out of 10.
Maggie, thoughts?
Pistachio, top tier.
Thoughts?
Tiramisu and dark chocolate, 11 out of 10. Oh!
When we got there in the evening, there was basically no line, but if you go during the middle of the day when it's a little bit warmer, do expect to wait quite a while. We recommend going in and trying 2 different flavors and getting the cone because they really load you up.
Next up, we decided to go for a day trip to go look for some of the most iconic views in all of Tuscany. So we headed over to San Quirico d'Orcia. This small village is in the heart of Val D'Orcia, which is a UNESCO World Heritage Site, and the landscapes here are straight out of a postcard. In fact, lots of movies have actually filmed out here, especially if you are into Gladiator, you might be able to see a couple of familiar scenes around this particular spot in Italy. Now, most of the famous photos here were taken in spring, so it's completely green. If you're visiting in the summertime, just know it's gonna look a little different. So it's still beautiful rolling hills, but all the grass is brown. So if you're looking for that picture perfect postcard, try and adjust your trip to earlier in spring rather than summer. If you've seen pictures of Tuscany before, you might have seen the most famous viewpoint, which is Podere Belvedere. And that's because it's got this beautiful cypress tree lined driveway, and it just makes for such an iconic photo. I will say, it was a cool little stop. However, I do think there are so many amazing other photo spots around this area with the beautiful cypress trees all over Tuscany. So I would not go out of your way to go to this area if you're just looking for this photo spot as a photographer. There's plenty of other compositions that you can find in this area.
We are currently spending the day out here exploring the cute little town of Pienza. And this is probably my favorite town that we visited so far in Tuscany. This is a much smaller town in the Italian countryside, but it is so quaint, so cute. It is super aesthetic. It's got all this greenery around the walls here. We just had our favorite sandwich of the whole trip so far out here in Tuscany as well. The shopping's adorable. You definitely only need half a day to a day here to see everything in this little village, but I think a lot of people base themselves in this area because it is so cute and vibey. So if you're looking for a more small, more peaceful town that's not as crowded as something like Siena, then this could be your style.
After you leave Pienza, one of our favorite little hidden gems that we visited was called Palazzo Massaini. It's a little winery and estate tucked into the countryside right next to Pienza, and it's also one of the places that has one of the best lines of the beautiful Tuscan trees in all of Tuscany, especially where we went. When you're driving by, there's buses that'll stop and take pictures of the beautiful driveway because, like I said, it is gorgeous. You can also go and explore the gardens right next to it, but while you're sipping some wine, you have beautiful views over the Pienza as well as the surrounding countryside. It's very peaceful, and we spent around 1 to 2 hours here, and that's typically how long we spent at all of the wineries, just in case you're trying to gauge how many you can do in one day.
Next up, we headed over to the cute little village of Montepulciano. Now, similar to the other villages out here, this is one, since it's a medieval area, not great for cars, so we parked on the outskirts of the city. It is paid parking, and then we walked inside. There's like an upper level of the city where there's a couple of shops. There's the famous area where actually the Twilight series came to film back in the early 2010s, and that's where they filmed some scenes from New Moon. And so that was why we were excited to walk around up there and be like, oh look, this is the scene where the Volturi came out and Edward was sacrificing himself for Bella and all this stuff. Anyways, side note, once you get a nice tour of that piazza area, you can actually head down some stairs to a almost like lower ring of the city. And that's where you're gonna find all these amazing wine shops to try the famous noble wine here. So if you're into wine, you definitely have to make some time for a wine tasting here. I would say you will probably want to allot about 2 to 3 hours to explore this area because it is a small town and it adds some extra time on if you are gonna do a couple of tastings.
The next spot we went to is called Certaldo. This was a charming medieval town split between a modern lower half and an ancient upper half, which was pretty interesting. You can take the funicular from the lower section of Certaldo up to the ancient part, and it was so cool. Some of the streets are beautiful. I will flag though, on Wednesdays here, a lot of things are closed. So just make sure you look up what the best day is to visit Certaldo. Since we went during the middle of the week, there was quite a few of the restaurants that were very famous there that were closed, so just keep that in mind. We saw the whole city in just around 3 hours, and then we had some time for lunch, so you don't need to spend the whole day here, but it is a great little half-day experience. Welcome to the town of Volterra. This is an Etruscan and Roman historical spot. It's honestly really cute and beautiful. We woke up this morning early to make it all the way up here. So about an hour drive from where we were staying, but we woke up this morning to a beautiful sea of clouds. It was nice, low hanging. It was absolutely magnificent. That's kind of what this area is known for, is a lot of views that you go to because of the environment here. You get these like low hanging fog clouds in the valleys. And if you're staying on top of one of the hills at one of the agriturismos or one of the castles, you get this beautiful glow over the rolling hills. It was just so beautiful. This town itself is honestly really, really cute. We spent the morning cruising around. We stopped at a little coffee shop right in the main plaza under the cathedral. They have an old Roman amphitheater that pretty cool to see. It's definitely not in as good of condition as the ones you're gonna see in Rome, but it is a fun little spot, and the view from Volterra is ridiculous. It's one of the highest hilltop cities in all of Tuscany, so you have sweeping 360-degree views around the entire spot. Lots of really good shopping here as well. We got some cute souvenirs, and it's just been a wonderful morning. So how long do you need to spend in Tuscany? Our recommendation would be spending at least 5 days, because after a while, all of the medieval towns start to look pretty similar. And by then you'll have enough time to go and explore the most beautiful towns, be able to taste a ton of wine. You'll be able to see the highlights and the most beautiful views. And I think that gives you enough time to explore Florence, which is the main city, as well as a lot of the cute surrounding smaller cities. So we would recommend anywhere from 4 to 5 days. Anything over that means you really love wine, which I mean, no problem with that. Anything shorter and you might miss a few of the highlights. If you are looking to explore a lot of Tuscany, we would recommend renting a car. That is what we did. We based ourselves in Castelfiorentino, and we were able to drive around and do little day trips to everywhere. The longest drive that we had was around an hour and 45 to 2 hours at the beginning of the day, and then same thing on the way back. But besides that, everything was pretty close by. If you do want to look at not renting a car and driving in Italy, which can be a little bit of an interesting experience, then we would recommend checking out the QR code right over here. That has a couple different options that you can do if you want to do little day trips outside of Florence to the surrounding towns in Tuscany. And the last thing we want to cover here is how expensive is Tuscany. We think it is pretty inexpensive, but we are also coming from California, which is one of the most expensive states in the US. You can typically expect to spend around $20 to $25 on more of the high-end tastings, but it can go up to 50 to 75 euro if you are looking to do like a wine tasting and a tour and have lunch on top. We opted to just go in and typically buy a bottle, which is around 10 euro to 20 euro. We could sit out on the patio and relax and enjoy the day, but all of the other food in Tuscany was pretty inexpensive. Sandwiches go for between 5 and 7 euro. A lot of the castles that you can rent out are not too expensive either. If you're trying to keep a budget in mind, just know that Tuscany is definitely not the most expensive place, and you should be able to get around, find really good food, really good wine for not too much of a investment. And that is it for our ultimate guide here in Tuscany. If you guys are going on this trip, you are going to have the best time ever.
Make sure to give us a like and subscribe if you want to see more bucket list adventures like this. And before your next trip, make sure to download Norton to keep yourself safe while you're out there exploring. With that, we'll see you next week with another adventure.